Sup bitches? I'm reliably informed that I'm terrible at pimping my stuff. So here I am, pimping my stuff in what's hopefully an amusing way. If you want to interact with me and follow me, you can find me on Twitter at Grinosaur and at Mort_post for official announcements. Hello lovelies. I did just record a review of this, which is the second Justinian book from the slipcase, Moloch, for Degenesis, but I forgot to switch my mic over, so that was a waste of time. But the thing is, there isn't actually a great deal to say about this book, despite its heavyweight thickness. A lot of the things that I always say about Degenesis apply, but many of the negative things apply less to this book than they do to the previous book. Now, they are sold as a pair, so maybe reviewing them separately was unfair, I don't know. But this is a far better book than the other one of the pair. That said, there isn't a great deal to this, I guess. It is primarily and overwhelmingly a guide to all the movers and shakers, the big characters within the territory that's ruled over by the judges. You get a brief little secondary introduction to the city and things that you can access and do while in the city, how people might react to you, whether you're welcome or not, which is a far better introduction to the city and the territory of the judges than the other book was. But then it is almost entirely a whole bunch of these mover and shaker characters broken down by cult and other aspects, with brilliant illustrations and nice, punchy, well-presented text, which makes a welcome change from all the other Degenesis material that I've looked at. You know, this is efficient, and it also helps the kind of weird, jumpy, shortcut, curt sentences issue that there is with the translation of the other material. So this is, I mean, if the game was still being produced, I would really want this to be the way in which they presented it in future, because you have the character, you have their background, but not too much. You have how to roleplay them, but not too much. You have actual statistics in a relatively easily referenced format, what they're up to, what they're doing to achieve their ends. Yeah, it's nice, it's concise, it's not too much. You can hook the thoughts off the characters. There's plenty of inspiration for adventure seeds from the various shenanigans and hijinks that they're up to. All works really well, especially compared to the rest of the Degenesis books. So I'm skipping several pages at a time, but you're getting the idea. You've got a whole bunch of characters, extremely well rendered, well described, in an easily referenced format in its own separate book. Which is great, except that, you know, these books come as a pair, so maybe it was unfair to review them separately. But this book is so much better than the other book of the pair. I think they should have maybe combined the two in a different way to the way that they've split them out in reality. And I also think that the other book drags this one down, or this one pulls the other one up, whichever way you want to think about it. The other book, which is more about location, 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 could have really done with taking cues from the way in which the information is presented in this book, keeping it shorter and sweeter, bullet pointing out the important things, giving you the statistics in a more easily referenced format. But that is mostly what this book is. Characters, plots, schemes, adventure seeds. At the very end, we do finally get some of the sort of meta plot resolved and talked about in a definitive fashion, like this is what is actually going on, which is welcome, and a bunch of adventure seeds there. I'm not a huge fan of meta plots since the White Wolf days. I mean, it kept people engaged and buying the books for a while, but putting everything into the hands of powerful NPCs determined by the publisher takes agency and influence away from the people actually playing the game in their home campaigns if you decide to follow the meta plot. And you tend to have to if you want to use the new releases. But this is a dead game. So with the end of their meta plot, that finally frees you up to do your own thing a lot more. So that becomes less of a complaint as well. So cutting to the chase, because there isn't really a great deal more to say. Style, 5 out of 5, can't fault it. Production values are great. The way in which it's presented is more useful than usual, so all good. In terms of substance, it gets dragged down by the other book, so a high 4, I guess. If both books had been presented and written as well as this one was, as easily referenced as this one was, then a 5. But it gets dragged down by its compatriot. So 4 out of 5 for substance. But even so, you know, that's 9 out of 10, 4.5 out of 5. If you are thinking of running a Degenesis campaign, you could do a lot worse than to pick up Justinian. There you go, short and sweet. Zang.
Aren't you a little tired of so-called horror media about shiny, sparkly, angsty, whiny monsters? I know I am, and that's why I created Actual Fucking Monsters, where you will play an actual fucking monster, doing horrible and monstrous things and being tracked down and killed for it. Buy now at DriveThruRPG, post-mort.com or lulu.com.
And this is not a time to be dismayed. This is punk rock time. This is what Joe Strummer trained you for. It is now time to go. You're a good person. That means more now than ever.